Without a doubt, one of the smartest people I know is my friend Kevin. Nobody even approaches it. I attended a very well-regarded university in California. Kevin is the best friend I have in my close circle. It seems as though he had the ability to solve complex mathematical equations in his brain. In fact, there was a time when we were eating pizza and discussing the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. I was at a loss on this hypothesis, so my friend Kevin explained it to me while he took a bite off of a pizza slice. That demonstrates his genius, both then and now. Because Kevin was so intelligent, he only needed to attend class once, to take roll, that is, in order to avoid being dropped by the professor on the first day, after which he would never again attend. Kevin is someone you can bank on to receive at least an A on exam day. He operated like a machine. In fact, he received honors and medals frequently without even needing to attend the talks. I laughed when he inquired if I had any notes for a class that he had entirely dropped. I thought he was wasting his time, which is why I was laughing. This person didn't even bother to show up. How on earth can he pass and even receive an A? When I saw that the person had higher grades than I had, I was shocked. He also didn't lie. That demonstrates Kevin's talent, both past and present. However, Kevin has a weakness with the majority of people. Every one of us has a unique set of shortcomings. It's a part of the territory. Kevin is not an outlier. His discipline was the issue. Despite owning a Ferrari engine, he was disinclined to drive it in a methodical, disciplined manner. He is currently twice divorced, renting an apartment that is beyond his means, and drinking away his troubles all the time. I consider the rest of us when I consider my friend Kevin's life, in addition to the missing chances for professional growth and achievements that he would have otherwise been able to accomplish. I consider how much we lost out on since he was unable to reach his full potential and use his brilliance to help society as a whole. Kevin might have been the next billionaire on a .com. He might have become the next tech revolutionary Web 2.0 wizard. However, he is currently fighting to make ends meet in the San Francisco Bay Area on what is practically the minimum wage. What is happening? How is it possible for someone with so much potential to have so little? As it happens, having self-discipline is not something we can decide to possess. It is the quality necessary for total success. When self-control is lacking, all else collapses. It's acceptable if you're not the brightest tool in the shed. You will eventually succeed as long as you have the self-control to determine what you need to study in order to do a little bit more tomorrow. Because there are so many things vying for our attention that claim to be meaningful and significant, self-discipline is essential. You must realize that there are many benefits in life. The issue lies in the fact that the greatest benefits life has to offer may only be obtained over a protracted, concentrated period of time. Everything in our lives requires discipline. This book provides you with a useful framework for practicing and strengthening self-discipline, which will help you achieve greater success in all facets of your life. It assists you in creating a new way of thinking so you can stop struggling. You will eventually come to a place when everything appears to fit together magically. It's not that there's magic involved, rather, it's because you're so focused that things start to fall into place and possibilities present themselves. This state is achievable, but it comes with a steep learning curve and a protracted journey. Will you embark on that journey? Chapter 1. What is self-discipline anyway? Although there are various definitions of self-discipline, I like the one provided by American author and philosopher Elbert Hubbard. The ability to do what you have to do when you have to do it, whether you feel like it or not, is what he defined as self-discipline. A vital life skill that lets you achieve in anything you decide to pursue is self-discipline. Once more, money isn't the only factor in this. Your relationships may be involved in these. Your health may also be involved in this. If you're like most Americans, you probably already know that it's not easy to lose weight. It takes a significant lot of self-control because, let's be honest, we prefer to eat pizza when given the option. We would much prefer devour a burger or some fried chicken. But eating salad every day requires a great deal of self-control. Self-discipline enables you to focus. Being self-disciplined teaches you how to maintain your attention on your top priorities. You make decisions about your objectives and daily priorities based on what matters most. Your self-discipline will then start to take over, and you will be able to focus on it every single day. Your words, ideas, and deeds all work toward achieving that objective. You're engaged in a lot of other activities, of course, but one aspect of your life keeps coming up. There's this steady emphasis. It's not as simple as chasing your tail or spinning your wheels. At some moment during the day, you're secretly bringing yourself closer to that significant achievement. Training is needed for this. It also calls for the capacity to reject flimsy attempts and quick fixes. Those are in great plenty. There are actually too many. Every action you take and every day you spend puts you closer to the intended conclusion when you choose to instead concentrate on the larger picture and take care of the things that need your attention. This does not, however, imply that your trip will go more quickly. This in no way implies that everything will be simple or that your path will be uneventful. In truth, there are nearly always obstacles you weren't prepared for while pursuing a major objective. Life seems to be tossing you curveballs one after the other. Surprisingly enough, though, disciplined people find it within themselves to overcome obstacles and address issues as they arise. Nothing knocks you out. They don't force you to give up. They don't make you lose your willpower. None of that is done by them. Rather, you discover within yourself the ability to advance toward your final goal by putting one foot in front of the other. That is self-discipline. It's not overly dramatic or seductive. This isn't how the movies are. There are plenty of thrills, chills, and spills along the route. It's not like there's a huge group of people plotting to get you. No, generally speaking, practicing self-discipline on a daily basis entails repeating the same actions. It's tedious work. It's not in the slightest bit seductive. But every step you take is altering your character. Refusing temptation after temptation makes you stronger and stronger. You will eventually come to ask yourself, why am I doing this? I can do so many other things that are much simpler. Other shortcuts are always an option that I could have explored. Why am I acting in this way? You must ascertain the why. Put differently, you need to identify the goal. It will be difficult to proceed if that is not the case. Self-discipline isn't as hard as you think. Actually, self-discipline isn't as hard as most people think. I'm not claiming that it's simple, though. Realizing that it consists of 2 stages is crucial. You have no idea what you're doing in the first phase. You're trying to exercise discipline with an activity that is unfamiliar to you. This is an extremely difficult stage. You're attempting to make sense of things. However, there is a tipping point when it gets simpler and easier after you get acclimated to it. You do manage to gather some momentum. It's important to get there. It really is really simple to maintain self-discipline once you've totally acclimated. Why? It's become second nature. It's nearly instinctive. It was really irrelevant what my feelings were by then. It made little difference how inconvenient it was. It was now a part of who I was. This is what self-discipline is capable of. After you cross that momentum threshold, practicing self-discipline becomes easier than you might believe. Self-discipline is a choice. It's a popular misperception that while most people lack self-discipline, some people do. That is incorrect. Self-discipline is a decision. Do you believe that many of the disciplined individuals who consistently attain success were born that way? Not at all. They frequently had to experience catastrophic defeat before they could break free from their old habits and adopt a more disciplined way of living. The good news is that you too can succeed if they can. Self-discipline awakens your emotional nature. Many individuals believe that self-discipline actually leaves no room for feeling, understanding, or intuition. They see it as a mechanistic, almost automatic process. They believe it to be soulless. They believe that iron will is all that is required. These people sure aren't right. When you stop to think about it, self-discipline is actually just the intuition needed to recognize, analyze, and control your own feelings. You would rather take things slow for a reason. This is the emotional side of you. It's pulling at you all the time. It is attempting to impede and burden you. Since you're in charge of your emotional states, there's a lot of room for feeling here. And just being aware of the situation is the first step toward this. What emotional context do I give the work I have ahead of me? Do I embellish the situation to make it seem more tough than it is? Do my emotional perceptions of things make me tougher on myself more? This is not a process of thoughtless action or brutal force. It's true that you need to connect with your feelings and break free from some of the self-defeating feedback loops. One of the most enjoyable things you will ever do is practice self-discipline. I understand that you're probably going to scratch your eyes in shock at this. However, the truth is that exercising self-discipline may be very enjoyable. We frequently connect it to a penalty of some kind. We are, after all, limiting our way of life. Rather than engaging in spontaneous, highly enjoyable activities, we are focusing on just one thing. We believe that our freedom is limited. In actuality, though, self-discipline allows you to savor life's greatest moments in the appropriate order and circumstances. You could take care of yourself and your loved ones and live the kind of life you desire if you had self-discipline. You now have a foundation on which to spend the remainder of your life. To put it another way, someone who pursued a profession of discipline and ascended to the top of their chosen corporate ladder is likely to have a higher nest fund than other people. They may now take art classes, travel the world, publish a book or two, and generally enjoy life to the fullest thanks to this. Why is that? They fulfilled their obligations. Thus, rather than viewing self-discipline as a punishment within itself, consider it as a means of accessing larger joys. Chapter 2: How to be self-disciplined using these 7 keys techniques. I'm going to give you a brief rundown of the 7 methods you will learn in this book to help you develop more self-discipline in this chapter. The order of these techniques is chronological. You'll be extremely let down if you're hoping for a revolutionary method. These are so fundamental that you would believe they were common sense, which is also what makes them so effective. These are typical, daily methods. The issue is that individuals don't even commit to them, much less put them together. They don't even bother to attempt because they believe this to be so simple. In actuality, these approaches are far more complex than you would wish to observe. The good news is that the subsequent steps get easier the more you practice and adhere to them. A feeling of momentum develops. Before you realize it, you can perform the 7 techniques with precision and ease. Eventually, you incorporate it into your everyday schedule. Technique number 1: determine your objectives. You should not be shocked if you shoot yourself in the foot if you have no idea what you're aiming for. Technique number 2: have a fallback strategy ready for when temptation strikes. Avoid being caught off guard. To help you consistently resist temptation, a small amount of forward planning goes a long way. Technique number 3: every day, discover what motivates you. It is so simple for individuals to brush this off. People believe that, am I not making an effort to practice self-discipline already? Is that not sufficient motivation? All right, no. That won't do, since you'll soon begin to see it as a chore. You begin to view your entire personal journey toward discipline as a form of penalization. Then, what do you do? To keep moving forward, you must figure out a long-term strategy for self-motivation. Technique number 4: make self-discipline a habit. You will eventually get to the point where practicing self-discipline is a daily habit. It's important to get there. The largest obstacle is this: because it's simple to form a new habit if you're in the appropriate place. Many of your mental barriers have crumbled, making it simpler for you to incorporate self-discipline into your everyday activities. Technique number 5: get adequate rest. Sleep is essential for replenishing your willpower. Did you know that? You must sleep for the full 8 hours. Additionally, you need good sleep in order to consistently refuel your willpower. Technique number 6: think positively all the time. It turns out that your world is directly influenced by your thoughts. The degree to which you believe that your efforts will yield the desired results will determine how likely it is that those results will occur at all. Technique number 7: be in the company of disciplined individuals. As I have said before, when you are surrounded by turkeys, it is difficult to soar like an eagle. After all, like birds of a feather, flock together. Chapter 3: be clear about your goals. It is essential to have a clear goal in mind if you wish to develop self-discipline. There is no way around this. Anything else is not going to work. Even if you could think you have everything worked out and a good plan of action, it won't matter if you don't have a clear idea of what you want to achieve. Wishes are not goals. The number of people who believe they already have life objectives and plans is so great that I cannot even begin to count them. They don't have any aims, it turns out, if you question them for specifics. They are quite clear about their desired outcome. Many people have vivid fantasies about themselves, including owning large bank accounts, living in opulent residences, and operating a luxurious Italian sports vehicle. However, these are not objectives. These are wishful thinking and delusions. When you can clearly explain to yourself the steps you need to do in reverse order to arrive to your endpoint, living in this castle, you know you have reached your goal. That's when you realize you have objectives. All the steps you need to take to accomplish your goals are outlined in a clear strategy. Often, the objectives coincide to form bigger objectives, which result in additional outcomes. And these then work together to achieve even greater objectives. For instance, you typically need to pass the bar test in California if you wish to practice law. Generally speaking, you have to attend an approved legal school for it to occur. The issue is that not everyone is able to attend law school. Generally speaking, you need to have some kind of academic certificate, such as a college degree. While it does happen, becoming a lawyer is not the path taken by those who did not complete high school. A 4-year degree is required if you wish to pursue the traditional path of becoming a lawyer. You must apply to colleges in order to receive a 4-year degree. You must take an entrance exam in order to apply to colleges. See how this operates, do you? You have the overarching objective of becoming an attorney, but there are also smaller objectives that you must accomplish. You must embark on an adventure. And every success also opens up a new road that calls for yet another triumph. That's just the way life is, no matter what your goals are. Eventually, you might find yourself living in an opulent estate. Fantastic! Fantastic! However, you must focus on the sequence of objectives that must be fulfilled before you get at that destination. Objectives need to be prioritized. Setting your priorities is the next stage after you have a clear understanding of the actions you must do to reach your ultimate goal. It's possible that you have a well-planned route from your current location to your destination. That's fantastic. The trouble is that it's quite simple to become bogged down in the minutiae if you have other commitments, activities, and responsibilities. It's quite simple to believe that your job is your top priority, even while it doesn't actually help you achieve your goals. You don't attend lessons, then. you stop taking classes semester after semester in order to focus on your employment. The issue here is that your objective and employment aren't closely related. Yes, your job pays the bills so you can work toward your ultimate goal, but that is the only meaningful connection it has to your objective. Is my point clear to you? Your aim will seem less important if you put your work first. And before you realize it, you stop thinking about it. It becomes irrelevant, and you stay in the same place. Reprioritizing your life is something you must decide upon at the same time as deciding on your ultimate vision for it. Even though your work is crucial to putting food on the table, please realize that it pales in comparison to the larger goal you are working for. Lead a life that reflects this. I do not advise quitting your job in any of these suggestions. It's not at all what I'm saying. I'm not urging you to do that, though. Instead, give everything the attention it deserves and allocate your energy appropriately. The best part about smashing goals. The best part of achieving your goals is that you feel a positive rush of possibility and enthusiasm once you overcome a challenge. For instance, admission to college is a prerequisite for becoming an attorney. It feels fantastic when kids score well on the SAT and get accepted into a reputable college. Discipline was cultivated there. After overcoming the initial obstacle of gaining admission to a 4-year university, you must focus your remaining work on preparing for the LSAT and graduating from college with a GPA high enough to gain admission to a reputable university. Once you're there, you have to do well in your first year in order to secure a prestigious practitioner position or a decent job with a large legal firm that will advance your career. Everything is connected to everything else. You must therefore use extreme caution in how you direct your energy as you overcome each obstacle one after another. Many people mistakenly believe that achieving one major objective justifies taking a break. No. Don't carry it out that manner. That will never work. Being self-disciplined and striving for achievement is similar to being a shark in certain ways. Did you know that a shark is dying if it isn't swimming? The same is true for you. You're stagnating if you're not moving toward the next objective. And before you realize it, a really difficult situation will arise for you. In detail, a guide to appropriate objective determination. Step 1. Make a list of the things you need to get done each day and start working on it. One task at a time, finish it. Avoid becoming overly invested in any one endeavor. Let the momentum and sense of accomplishment from finishing one activity flow over to the next. Step 2. See your ultimate objective. Consider the things you genuinely want out of life. Here, I am referring to your ambitious plans. Imagine what that would be like. Imagine how you would appear if you were leading that kind of life. Before you start a daily job and after you finish it, return to this vision. By doing this, you align all of the minute, detailed tasks you are now performing with something larger. This serves as a reminder to both your conscious and subconscious thoughts that everything you do right now has purpose. In the end, every action you take now will result in the enormous success you have been striving for. Step number 3. Every day, jot down your lofty goals for yourself. Write down your huge vision first thing in the morning. After reading it and seeing it, crumple the paper. And then write it down once more, this time on a new page of paper. You revitalize both your conscious and subconscious minds when you do this. Additionally, you eliminate ideals and objectives that aren't really that crucial. Perhaps you believe that because other people want them, you should pursue them. However, if you use this method to renew your life's purpose, a lot of the excess material comes out. The things that really matter in life are all that remain. These are the enduring objectives. These are the things that you know in your heart of hearts will always be significant to you. Step 4. Reaffirm your conscious commitment to your main objective. You have to tell yourself, I am capable, after looking at the list of ambitious objectives and dreams for yourself, even at the risk of becoming cliché. I've decided to keep this for myself. I'm going to carry this out. These are simply some starting phrases for you. Please feel free to create a different version. Here, it's crucial that you make a conscious decision to adhere to these. Please be aware that achieving these takes years. It does require a significant amount of sacrifice. The good news is that you can instill these values in your mind by trying to be as aware of them as you can. Writing, rewriting, and fumbling with the goal list turns it into a daily routine. It eventually becomes a part of who you are. Step number 5, implement your objectives. Always keep in mind how your everyday chores relate to your goals, even when you're crushing them. Give yourself some affirmations at the end of the day about the things you accomplished and how they moved you closer to your objective. You can conquer procrastination by doing this. This motivates you to exert maximum effort towards accomplishing your objectives. Additionally, this stage ensures that your objectives are top of mind. They are not some far-off dream or idea that would be lovely to come true. It becomes instantaneous instead. Chapter 4. Always be ready with a backup plan. You might be under the impression that everything would go well as soon as you make the decision to practice self-discipline. I realize that this may seem overly simple or even stupid, but let's be real. We frequently think in this manner when we create plans. Even though it might not be evident to us, this is how we react to unanticipated events or curveballs that life throws at us. As though we were taken by surprise. We never considered the possibility of difficulties. It's important to remember that practicing self-discipline is something you are not naturally inclined to do. It is in your nature to eschew difficulty and to flee from suffering and pleasure. Human nature is like that. That's how our wiring is set up. You're attempting to take a different approach. You're attempting to postpone happiness and put yourself through hardship now in order to get great benefits later. It should come as no surprise that persons who encounter unexpected circumstances are more prone to give up. It takes them completely off guard. They lose their determination because it comes as such a surprise. Using the Gollwitzer strategy is the preferred course of action. The psychologist Peter Gollwitzer asked study participants to make if-then statements for themselves in 1997 so that they could prepare for and handle a variety of unexpected, unplanned, and unwanted situations. The implementation intention is what is meant by this. In essence, people would set goals for themselves and then make if-then statements for themselves if, for whatever reason, they were unable to reach those goals. Having a well-thought-out plan in place helps them avoid being taken off guard and maintain their resolve. Peter Gollwitzer truly claims that this is the secret to success. Your willpower suffers when you follow through with your intentions and encounter unforeseen circumstances. You're bewildered, unsure of what to do, and you waste a lot of time squandering your resolve on a variety of possibilities. You are left with little willpower when the correct course of action becomes apparent. It weakens your resolve. You frequently feel dejected, disheartened, or stuck. If you prepare if-then sentences in advance, you'll be prepared to react in any situation. You are prepared with a plan, regardless of whether you choose to wait or face significant resistance. You figure out a workaround rather than giving up and freezing. And before you know it, you are where you were supposed to. A research that was published in the March 2009 issue of the journal Psychology and Health examined this strategy. Prior to the study, participants were asked to complete questionnaires about their intentions, actions, and plans related to eating more fruits. It turns out that those who expressed their plans as if-then statements have a higher likelihood of eating more fruit than those who merely had a more all-encompassing strategy. The rationale behind this is that individuals with if-then strategies are better equipped to adapt and remain committed to their objectives when a variety of obstacles arise. An easy-to-use guide for backup plans. Step 1. Establish implementation goals. To begin with, you must decide what steps you will take to accomplish your objective. Determine the time that you must perform such tasks as well. After you have a firm understanding of these pairs, consider potential issues that might arise. Make if-then sentences that connect potential obstacles with your intended course of action. Step 2. Decide how you will handle obstacles and guide them toward your objective. To put it another way, don't limit your attention to solving an unforeseen issue. Verify that the course of action you intend to conduct actually results in the desired outcome. To put it another way, even the diversions must still lead to the destination. Say, if it is 6 a.m., I'm going to take a jog, as an example, rather than, I'm going to lose weight. You don't specifically mention wanting to reduce weight in this if-then statement. But it becomes clear when you say this again and again. You have an activity that gets you closer to your objective and a cue, which is a specific time in the morning. You are more likely to lose weight if you jog or run in the morning. Step number 3. Clearly state the challenges that you face. Make a big, laundry list of all the possible outcomes. Next, order the items on your list according to likelihood. Step number 4. Rewrite your if-then clauses taking the barriers into consideration. Verify that your aim is still reached by the workarounds. Step number 5. Provide as much detail as you can. Just having a backup plan in place won't cut it in the event of an unexpected circumstance. Being as detailed as you can about the steps you need to follow and how they will help you achieve your objective is crucial. The backup plan gets more potent and deliberate the more defined your backup action is. No unexpected circumstance or curveball will derail you from your plan before you know it. Don't merely set objectives and cross your fingers. That is ineffective. Instead, concentrate on if-then clauses that will assist you in adjusting to reality as your plans come to pass. Chapter 5. Make sure you are motivated on a sustainable basis. To be clear, let me say this. It's really simple to discover motivation when you make the decision to become a more disciplined person. You've just come to understand how crucial self-discipline is, after all. At that moment, its advantages are still abundantly evident to you. But as the days pass, you realize just how hard it is. It becomes apparent to you that it's more difficult than you initially anticipated. Your determination eventually begins to waver. Your pace seems to be decreasing. You begin to consider shifting your attention to other areas. As a matter of fact, the temptations become increasingly appealing. You have the opportunity to take it easy, but instead you're working hard for a goal and moving forward step by step. Even better, you can decide to just relax and take the day off. Laziness, after all, pays dividends right away. I have some excellent news for you if you find yourself in this predicament. Your issue is not that you don't have a clear objective. Your objective has a compelling enough reason for you to push yourself if you've made it this far. As of right now, it works. It's not a lack of preparation beforehand. You set yourself up for ultimate achievement by creating if-then statements that take into consideration potential problems or unanticipated events. Your lack of motivation is the issue. To put it another way, it will eventually run out of gas, even if you happen to purchase an extremely attractive Ferrari with a powerful engine. This is because gas tanks are designed to hold a certain amount of fuel. It's not really complicated here. Self-discipline exercises are no different. Every day, you need to be properly motivated. This is the essential ingredient that will help you reach the stage where practicing self-discipline turns into a habit. What keeps you inspired? Visualization is one method, according to a 1999 UCLA study that was written up in the journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. That is to say, you must envision yourself developing discipline each and every day. Focusing on the process makes you more determined to go through it. It's not something you see as merely something you do. And ultimately you begin to see it as a trial or a punishment of some kind. The purpose of this 1999 study was to compare participants' excitement about the process of creating a particular outcome with how they visualized that outcome. Students who allow themselves to become inspired by the process of working towards a goal end up performing better on exams. Compare this to pupils who were given tests and urged to be enthusiastic about the results. These are two very distinct entities. Two distinct aspects of the same voyage are the focus of these two groups. A single group concentrated on the method. The other group concentrated on the result. Become enthusiastic about the process of discipline development. Permit yourself to be excited about the reality that you are genuinely attempting to develop discipline. Many folks don't operate in the same manner as you. You're engaged in exceptional work. By placing yourself in this situation, you'll be able to hone a quality about yourself that will provide you a competitive edge. Get giddy over that. A comprehensive how-to guide for developing a self-sustaining incentive system. Step 1. Consider your accomplishments in life. Everybody has accomplished something in some way. Look at those accomplishments. Regarding you, what do people say? What categories of strengths do you recognize? What character qualities can you strengthen? Get giddy over those. Step 2. Determine what other people consider to be your main skills and areas of strength. For what do you have admirers? When people observe you and your life's work, who do they see? Do not misunderstand. There is something we can all be proud of. Concentrate on those. Step number 3. Acknowledge that the methods that led to your accomplishments. You did not inherit your accomplishments. That should be made obvious. It was work for you to do it. They are a component of an action. No matter how long or short it was, work had to be done. Determine which processes those are. Recognize that the procedures you are going through today are similar to the ones you went through previously. Step number 4. Make a connection between the procedures you've previously gone through and the ones you're currently going through. You should feel immensely reassured when you recognize that the process you are currently going through on your way to higher achievement is actually not all that different from a comparable path you have previously taken. You're not taking on a totally novel task. This is a route you've already taken. You ought to feel at ease because of this. You are not traveling through unknown area. What's the best aspect? You've already completed it. What is preventing you from taking action right now? Since you have experience with this process, get enthused about it. Positive outcomes have already been obtained. Hold off till this path yields even more impressive outcomes. This is how you become enthusiastic about the procedure rather than merely becoming fixated on the result. Chapter 6. Turn self-discipline into habits. Please realize that highly successful and disciplined individuals are not born that way. They selected specific options. Making self-discipline a habit is one option. The good news is that self-discipline is a life skill, much like any other. Since you haven't really focused on it before, it can be a little difficult at first. In fact, you may be working in completely foreign land in many instances. You've never seen something like that before. To you, its language seems like Greek. However, as you learn via trial and error and just plain practice, things gradually begin to click into place, and you can probably anticipate what happens next. It gets simpler eventually. It's not that different from your first time at the gym. If you've ever tried working out in a gym, you know that the first few days are really taxing on your muscles. In what way are they unable to? You haven't previously applied force on your muscles. However, your body eventually adapts as you grow used to lifting heavy weights and consistently visit the gym. You quickly begin to build larger, more powerful, and leaner muscles. The same holds true for your discipline and self-discipline. These are emotional and mental muscles as opposed to physical ones. They yet function similarly to muscles. They get stronger the more you test them and apply pressure. Of course, there is early discomfort and resistance. That comes with the territory. But as long as you can stick with it, things get simpler over time, and, before you realize it, self-discipline becomes nearly natural because it has become a habit. 92 smokers who were attempting to stop were examined in terms of the development of self-discipline habits in a 2010 study that was published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. They were told during the first meeting that undertaking specific activities, such as maintaining a journal, doing math problems, exercising hand grip exercises, and abstaining from sweets, would help them develop self-discipline for a period of 2 weeks. The first group involved hand grip and avoiding sweets. Individuals were instructed to suppress their emotions, impulses, and behaviors. They were instructed to limit their intake of sweets. To practice their grasping strength, they were also provided hand grips. All that was required of the diary group participants was that they record in their journal any self-discipline behaviors they performed during the time. In actuality, this served as the control group. It is out that participants are more likely to reach higher levels of self-discipline when they are assigned to routines that involve refusing sweets or performing hand grip exercises. Put another way, modest actions of restraint can contribute to increased overall self-discipline. It starts to become second nature. Self-discipline starts small and works its way up to the bigger problems in life. Don't believe that exercising restraint in one aspect of your life will never affect other sections of it. They carry out a detailed how-to for developing self-discipline as a habit. Step 1. Concentrate on finishing little tasks. For example, if you want to make it a habit to finish your daily to-do lists, start by concentrating on simple tasks. Give attention to the ministerial matters. Step number 2. As it becomes easier, scale up. There are usually low-hanging fruit when you look at your daily activities. Make it your daily goal to consistently get rid of those. Once you've gotten to the point where you can handle low-hanging fruit with ease, go on to more time-consuming or willpower-demanding chores. Step number 3. Continue increasing in size as things become simple. As you're scaling up, you'll notice something odd. It turns out that you pick up some speed and become more capable of handling situations. When this occurs, pay close attention to it. Think back to your starting point. Step 4. Prepare your if-then clauses. When it comes to putting your intentions into practice, never forget your if-then phrases. Because life can give you curveballs, a little bit of planning goes a long way. Anticipate and avoid disappointments. There's always an other solution. Therefore, concentrate on the workaround, and you'll be astonished at how much you can do. The best thing about it all is that you gradually gain momentum. Chapter 7. Make sure you get enough sleep. In case you were unaware, exercising self-discipline requires a significant amount of willpower and mental focus. Studies reveal that we have a finite amount of willpower available to us on a daily basis. It's not like we have an endless supply of self-discipline we just have to find. That is not true. That's not our wiring. Instead, picture yourself with a certain number of coins every day. Everything that requires focus, analysis, attention, or any kind of critical or in-depth thought requires willpower. This is true for any task that needs perseverance. It should come as no surprise that many people who struggle greatly with self-discipline run out of willpower before the end of the day. In actuality, a lot of them had very little willpower in the first place. Even tasks that are moderately difficult wear them out. What happens to them after that? They are unable to resist temptation for the rest of the day. They just go back to what they used to do, which was to look for shortcuts or to put things off and put them off. They don't learn self-discipline and discipline. They do not have the required foundation. How do they manage it? Their resolve is completely gone. It turns out that our degree of sleep the night before can improve our initial fixed amount of willpower. Sleep is necessary for you to get your will back. If you find out that you didn't have any willpower in the first place, try getting 8 hours of sleep. I just said something, pay attention to it. I'm not just talking about how much sleep you got. You must obtain 8 hours of restful sleep. That is very important. But quality needs to be taken into account in addition to quantity. Even 8 hours of sleep is not enough. It is necessary to get the right kind of sleep. Which type of sleep is ideal? We're talking about REM sleep. In essence, you are dreaming when you have rapid eye movement while you sleep. Your ideas organize themselves. It rearranges information and rests in a deeper, more profound way. When it does this, your mental faculties are restored, and the next morning you have a lot more willpower than the previous one. That is how REM sleep works. It is necessary to burn the candle at both ends when it comes to sleeping. In addition to making sure your sleep lasts long enough, you also need to make sure it is meaningful, deep, and restful. When you do this, your mood can withstand far more punishment and your willpower becomes stronger. You are able to focus for longer stretches of time, exercise better judgment, and generally make wiser choices. These findings came from a study that was released in October 2011 in the Academy of Management Journal. There was sleep deprivation in 2 groups, and the study's findings show that those in the lower sleep group showed signs of weakened self-discipline. Additionally, they tended to be less amiable. Comprehensive guidelines for increasing the amount and caliber of your slumber. First step, keep a regular sleep schedule. It is important that you adhere to a regular sleep schedule regardless of other events in your life. You owe yourself 8 hours of sleep every night. Adhere to that schedule. If you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, stay in bed. Resist the urge to get up and check your email or go get a drink of water. It's likely that light exposure will throw off your sleep cycles, making it harder for you to get back to sleep. If you find yourself awakening in the middle of the night, stay in bed. Step 2. Make it a habit to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. At first, you're going to have trouble sticking to this routine. But you will get used to it eventually. Step number 3. Establish a nightly schedule for yourself. Surprisingly, the things you choose to do before and after bed have a big impact on how much and what kind of sleep you get. Give your rituals some serious thought. Steer clear of coffee. Consume no stimulants at all. Steer clear of working out or engaging in intense exercise right before bed. Be very careful how you manage your time. Think carefully about the things you choose to do before and after bed. Take a note. Certain activities may help you fall asleep earlier and stay asleep longer. Put those into action. Similarly, identify the activities you presently partake in that result in minimal or no sleep. Get rid of the others and swap them out for better ones. Step number 4. Take control of your surroundings. Many people think that there isn't much they can do about where their bed is located in their house or the surroundings. This is untrue. Before going to bed, you have a lot of control over your surroundings. You should think about remodeling your bedroom. Perhaps you should reorganize the furniture. It might be preferable to make minor changes to the background music, lighting, and acoustics. Just because your bed is in a certain place doesn't mean that sleeping is a take-it-or-leave-it decision. Refrain from falling into that trap. Ensure that your surroundings promote restful sleep. Unfortunately, no one else can answer this with certainty save you. Therefore, pay attention to your surroundings. Take control of them. Make minor adjustments every now and then. Items are combined and contrasted. Keep an eye on your results. Build on the things you're doing well, identify the things that require work, and come up with fresh ideas. That might take some time, but the good news is that you will benefit in the long run by getting better, deeper sleep. You must practice self-discipline. You have to be as resolute as possible in the morning. Consider this lengthy, drawn-out procedure as an unnecessary investment in your willpower, which is what you require to achieve the desired level of self-discipline. Chapter 8. Think positively. When was the last time you attempted to play hoops? Like the majority of Americans, you have undoubtedly played hoops at least once. Now picture yourself stepping in close to the line, dribbling, and then shooting. Seems simple enough? Imagine for a moment that you are convinced the ball will not pass through the hoop. You're making a bad assumption. It's as if there's an air ball. It's as though you're going to fire a brick. Whatever it is you're picturing, the outcome will not be favorable. How does that affect your chances of making that shot, in your opinion? Well, nobody should be shocked that you miss every shot you attempt. You see, how you choose to view your prospects has a direct impact on how well you perform in everything in your life. Be less surprised if everything you think about turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy if you have a very pessimistic outlook on how things will work out. Your emotions are where they are if you believe you won't make the shot. You begin to question your own abilities. This has a significant effect on your actual physical performance before you realize it. Perhaps you're not aiming the shot correctly. Perhaps you adopt an incorrect posture. In any event, the ball does not pass through the hoop. Apply this now to every other circumstance in your life. It fits perfectly. The way you choose to interpret events in your life has a significant impact on how they work out. In fact, a May 2005 study from the University of Michigan found a correlation between an individual's mental positivity and their capacity for willpower to accomplish significant tasks. This is very important. Students in the Michigan study watched brief film clips that either evoked happy, content, or neutral emotions. Video clips from films that made people feel bad were also shown to other groups. The participants were given a piece of paper with the words "I would like to" on it after viewing all of these pictures. It turns out that the least number of plans were displayed by the students who were exposed to negative images. Those who were shown pictures of happiness and contentment, on the other hand, listed out more elaborate plans. Put another way, you're more likely to recognize the opportunities in your life when you feel feelings of love, contentment, inner peace, and joy. You're more prone to view situations as flexible, exciting, and full of opportunities. Put differently, there's a greater likelihood of you acting. Additionally, you're more likely to use your determination to force events to occur. In order to develop self-discipline, this is vital. Positive mental states lead to a positive mood, which increases your ability to roll with the punches when faced with setbacks. Make no mistake, you will encounter obstacles in your quest to develop self-discipline. It has a boundary with it. Although a prior method teaches you to prepare if-then statements in case of such setbacks, you still need willpower to make those statements come to pass. To conquer obstacles, you must have willpower. It is very difficult to do this when you are in a bad mood. If you are angry or in any other kind of really bad mood, this is nearly impossible to do. A detailed how-to for adopting a more optimistic outlook. Step 1. Say encouraging words aloud as you begin your day. Remind yourself that this is going to be an amazing day. It's going to be an amazing day, so it's not enough to just call it good. You most likely won't believe yourself at first. All you seem to be doing is going through the motions. However, if you let your mind dwell on the thought, "This is going to be a great day," over time, associations will begin to form. It will begin accomplishing specific goals during the day. A favorable correlation is established. Your positive affirmation begins to sound more and more real the next time you say it to yourself. The important thing is to let it have its way with you. It's likely that you would need to say it repeatedly before that connection is established. Step 2. Vigorously monitor your negative self-talk. When you stubbed your toe, did you ever think of yourself as an idiot? Have you ever committed a public error or been made fun of by others? You're thinking to yourself in the back of your mind, "I'm such a loser." That's just negative self-talk, then. That's just what you're saying to say it. That's what you'll live with if you don't take action. Do you now feel like a loser? Just wait until your harsh reality starts to manifest itself through your negative affirmations. This has to be stopped right away. Consider the daily affirmations you make to yourself. Attempt to make things better. For instance, if you find yourself saying things like, "I suck at this" or "I have no chance with her," try changing them. Pose inquiries to yourself. How can I improve by 1% today compared to yesterday? What can I do for her today that will improve our relationship by 1% today? Something similar to that. You are requesting answers when you pose these questions to yourself. You're not holding yourself accountable to a particular situation. You aren't telling yourself that you're a clown. You're not a winner. You are not liked by anyone. Rather, you're asking yourself, how can I use my nearly limitless creativity, resourcefulness, and intelligence to make a better reality for myself? Pose inquiries to yourself. The better, the more open-ended. You'd be astonished at how fast the details pop into your head. Step 3. Steer clear of unpleasant stimuli. Don't make a mistake. The mind is an extremely potent association machine. It forges a variety of favorable connections. It also establishes unfavorable connections. It's up to you to stay away from people, places, media, and other things that make you feel negative if you are aware of what your personal triggers are. That's the main point. Start with avoidance initially. You will eventually be able to change those associations once you have developed sufficient discipline and willpower. However, you have to start with prevention. Step number 4. Seek out the positive aspects of things. Because it is the most challenging, I put it last. But it's also the most fruitful. After completing the aforementioned steps, proactively search for success in all of your endeavors. You'll soon come to understand that a lot of good things are, in fact, happening all around you. All you have to do is decide to start noticing them. It need not be large. They don't need to be very theatrical. All they need to be is genuine. It may surprise you to learn that having healthy kidneys when you wake up each day is a wonderful thing. Wait until you get kidney stones if you don't believe me. They are not enjoyable. It is a blessing to be able to breathe naturally. If you don't believe me, simply visit the cancer ward in your area and ask the community coordinator to see if you can comfort and chat with those who are afflicted with lung cancer. Given that you have no idea where your rent money will come from, I understand that it might seem like a small consolation. You recently broke up with your girlfriend. Your boss is a tyrannical, overbearing idiot. However, pay attention to the little things that are going well. Your focus begins to shift as soon as you can see how many things are going well. And those will continue to grow the more you give them attention. The more appreciative you grow. And once you're in that proper mindset, it begins to alter your capacity to endure the less than favorable aspects of your life. That's the way you move on. Chapter 9. Surround yourself with individuals who are already self-disciplined. The adage, "birds of a feather flock together," has a great deal of validity. Why? People are essentially sponges. We take in everything around us. You hang around with people who are often taking shortcuts, which is partly the reason you're finding it difficult to complete tasks on time. Even worse, it's possible that the individuals you associate with discourage you from achieving your goals. As far as they're concerned, you have no choice but to carry out their actions. Choosing to be surrounded by chickens, turkeys, and other poultry makes it exceedingly difficult to fly like an eagle. You're aware of your potential. Dream that far, and you'll know how far you can soar. It would be incredibly unfortunate if you choose to be around people who are so narrow-minded that they act as a motivational black hole for you. Whatever the brightness of your dreams, the negativity of those around you drains them of all their vitality and brightness. You hear nothing but you can't do it. I have attempted and failed. Avoid being like me. These folks are frequently members of our family, which is the saddest part of all of this. How often have you been discouraged by your parents? How many times have your cousins discouraged you from trying? How many times have you been put under the care of well-meaning uncles or aunts who say they understand you, but you just don't have it in you? These folks don't have it in for you, and you have to realize that. They wish for your happiness. They want you to feel happy. They wish you nothing but the best. The issue is that they believe that discouraging you is helping you, but in reality, they are so cynical or have been warped by past transgressions and failures. They just want you to not be as disappointed as they are, deep down. They would be damned if they let someone they loved, that is, you, go through the same struggle because life let them down. Please realize that love is what animates them most of the time. They wish for you to maintain your resolve. They want nothing to take away from your will. They simply don't want you to get wounded, instead. The short route to that, in their minds, is to give up completely. You have to emerge from that abyss of motivation. Doing it quickly is required. How would one go about doing that? Assemble a circle of acquaintances who have partially accomplished your goals. It's likely that 20% of employees at your place of employment provide 80% of the results. Identifying those persons is your first task. Join them for social activities. Yes, initially, they most likely would have their doubts. They may even be highly dubious. But gain their confidence. Enter their inner sanctum. You have what I need, say to them. In this organization, you have won. Yes, I'm a wet behind the ears, I haven't been tried or proven. However, you can believe that I sincerely want to learn from you. They relate to the better angels of their nature because they understand how difficult it was to start out as nobody, in addition to the pleasant little ego boost. They are aware of how difficult it can be. They perceive themselves in you if they are able to recognize your genuineness and the evident desire to better yourself. Indeed, the finest ones would be delighted to return the favor. That is to say, no one was available to guide them or teach them the ropes. However, now that they have the opportunity to mentor someone, they will seize it. That reveals the true essence of them. So socialize with those folks. Sincere coaches won't sugarcoat anything. They'll tell you that things are difficult. However, they'll also remind you that there's always a way out, and that involves putting in the necessary work and learning the necessary lessons before giving up and going forward till you gain momentum. Nevertheless, until you prove to them that you're prepared to pay the price, they won't waste their time with you. To do this is to spend time with them. This entails attempting to find time to spend with them. Indeed, many of them will put you to the test. They'll ask themselves, is this child genuinely interested in becoming one of this company's best salespeople? Permit me to scold him. Allow me to be critical of him. You just have to go past this. They'll tell you the secret after you gain their confidence and trust. A step-by-step manual for surrounding yourself with disciplined role models. Step 1. Identify the accomplished members of your company. I do not mean the CEO when I say winners. I refer to those in the middle class. Track them down. Any organization will always contain them. As previously said, 20% of the individuals within an organization generate 80% of its outcomes. Track down that 20%. Step 2. Show off your value. Spend more time together than just mingling. They are aware that such individuals are leeches. They don't want to put in the effort necessary to attain true achievement, rather, they just want the illusion of accomplishment. Such folks are not the priorities of truly successful people. They're parasites. You should not be too surprised if someone tries to put you to the test because you are among the most productive members of your organization. Perhaps an assignment will be given to you. Perhaps they will put you to the test and try to work with you. Prepare for the test, whatever the situation may be. Prepare yourself to ace the test. Step number 3, to be held accountable, be receptive to criticism. The worst possible thing to do is to be conceited. The worst thing you can do when attempting to pick up knowledge from a mentor is to believe that you are always correct and that the mentor is incompetent. I realize this sounds absurd. However, this is a common behavior. They believe they are finished. They believe they understand everything. Thus, nothing really gets through when someone who has life experience tries to advise them. Everything is interpreted as a slight of some kind. People perceive attacks against them. Thus, they are not taught. This cannot be personal against you. It's you who is the pupil. Be a united front. You never see a student approach a professor and correct them. You have no idea what you're discussing. In what way could you know? The book hasn't been read cover to cover by you. You haven't carried out the study. It's not like hundreds of symposiums and conferences have invited you to speak. Every time you open your lips, you're not learning anything, so you'd better shut up and take a seat. Closing your mouth while keeping your ears open is preferable. It's a self-discipline practice in and of itself because you are putting pride and ego aside. All right, let's get real. Everybody aspires to be a prima donna. Thus, we all desire the spotlight. However, the issue arises when you try to put on a show and hog the spotlight, you're not learning. What you're seeking for is with these people. So give yourself permission to pick up new skills. Conclusion. One essential life skill is self-discipline. It is essential to success in any endeavor. In fact, self-discipline is one of the top 3 attributes that will guarantee your success. Grit, or determination, is an additional one. The fact is that self-discipline can help you achieve the wonderful life you have always desired. Being the sharpest tool in the shed isn't a requirement. It's not necessary to have a PhD from birth. It's not necessary for you to enter through the door like a rock star. You will acquire the necessary skills to carry out the necessary tasks for however long it takes to accomplish the major goals if you possess sufficient self-discipline. Having self-discipline gives you a clear understanding of the process, which is its best feature. You become humbled by it. It doesn't make you into a prima donna-like figure who is always in need of attention. This makes it possible for you to begin viewing life as a set of skills. You begin to view life as a series of challenges that bring out the best in you rather than as a succession of humiliations that drain you of all your strength. Purifying fire refines individuals in the same way as fire refines gold, far from being a terrifying fire that consumes people and causes them to suffer unbearably. When gold is exposed to fire, its purity, brilliance, and worth are all revealed. This is how discipline works. Pain is not something that can be experienced lightly. But the suffering is required. I hope the best for you at all times.